All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about webinars. Okay, specifically, I've had this conversation twice in the last 2 days, so I wanted to make a quick video on this. And what we're specifically going to talk about is how to run webinars with your sales team to convert the most people from those webinars into obviously purchasing whatever it is that you are pitching at the end or you want them to do at the end, whether it's a CTA to book a call, to check out for an event, ticket events, or event sales, or high ticket product. Regardless of what it is, the strategy will work. It's really easy to set up, especially if you're already on HubSpot. If you're not on HubSpot, I'm sure you can do this. It's just going to be a little bit more complicated. If this video gets a lot of engagement, I will create a video step by step on how to do this inside of HubSpot. So comment below, give it a thumbs up, and let's dive into it. So when you're running a webinar, typically the problem with webinars is that if you have, let's say, 1,000 or even 10,000 people show up for these webinars, it's really hard to get to everybody afterwards, right? Especially before 2 or 3 days kind of go by where everything kind of starts to die down. You only have about 24 to 48 hours to really get to people, get those conversations, get it going, and push them across the finish line. So when we are running webinars, let's say this is your registration bucket, okay? So I'll just put this as register, right? Let's say we have 10,000 people in this bucket, okay? So out of that, let's say we get 5,000 to show up, okay? So these are the people who show or attend the webinar. At the end of the webinar, you're always going to do some kind of hard CTA, right? You're going to be giving a pitch. Like I said, it could be to ticket sales, it could be to book a call, it could be to fill an application, right? And the way that you're going to want to do it is you're going to want to set up a page with either a scanned QR code or a link that you drop, right? Something that you can push people back to after the call if you need to through email marketing and all that stuff. But also at the end, when you're pitching, you want them to be able to scan or click the link, right? So we can send them to that page to do whatever we're trying to get them to do. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna add a tag to this page so that we can track everybody who registered and showed up who viewed this page, okay? And you're gonna embed whatever it is the CTA is and on that page. Okay, the reason that we're doing this is if we have 5,000 people that show up, right? The very serious people are going to go click on that page. And a lot of the times, especially with a webinar, especially if it's an hour, 2 hours long, people will click on the page because they're interested, open it up, right? In their mind, I'm going to get to this later, whatever, and they never do, right? Or they forget about it. So everybody that views this page, let's say it's 50%, which would be awesome. Usually it's not, but let's say it's 50%. So 2,500 people. Instead of 10,000 or even 5,000, we know these 2,500 are going to be your hottest leads. Okay, so those 2,500, and sorry, it's a little blurry. There we go. Those 2,500 are your most interested. They registered, they showed up, and they viewed your CTA page. Okay, when this happens, what you're going to do is you're going to delegate these leads to your team through a workflow or some kind of automation. So these leads are going to get delegated to the sales team. It's going to basically trigger some kind of notification, whether that's through Slack or whatever the case may be. And it's going to basically populate a smart view with only these leads. Okay, so this should be an initiative, right? Hey guys, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have the webinar. Everybody at the end when the CTA happens that views that page is automatically going to trigger a workflow that's going to delegate these leads to you guys, right? You're going to get a notification letting you know that this person has viewed the page, they didn't check out, they didn't book, right? If they do, it's going to filter them out, obviously, or it's not going to delegate them. And your job is to call them as quickly as you can, right? We're just focusing on our hottest prospects first, okay? So then they're going through this smart view and they can just power dial and go through it, and they're just working their most highest quality leads, okay? So instead of having to come up with some crazy automation or bring in AI or anything along those lines, you can, instead of trying to go for all 5,000 or all 10,000, you can filter down just those who have already shown interest and just need a little nudge to get across the finish line, okay? It's extremely effective, right? It's very powerful and it makes your reps very, very focused, okay? Now, the trick with this is throughout day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, right, after the webinar, you're going to have two different things happening from marketing. One, you're going to try and get more of the 5K people that didn't show up to obviously watch the recording, right? Same thing. If they hit this page after watching the recording, then they're going to trigger the automation. It's going to delegate them into that smart view. It's going to ping the rep, and they're going to be able to call that person and get them on the phone right away, right? Now, anybody that didn't, right? So they watched it and they didn't go to the next page. They didn't click the CTA, right? So this 2,500, right? And then ultimately this 5K from over here, right? Or whatever the number is, right? This cadence is going to be trying to get them back to this page, right? So our goal is to have marketing pushing everybody who didn't show up to watch the recording, right? That goal is to push everybody who watches the recording into obviously triggering that automation and viewing that page, right? Everybody that did show up that didn't view that page, that's where your secondary marketing campaign is going to go in place, where all your automation, emails, text, all that stuff is going to be to try and get them to view the page, okay? If they view the page and they move forward, they're going to not, they're going to skip out on all of this stuff, right? But if they view the page and they don't move forward, that's what's going to trigger this automation, delegate them, and move them through the process, okay? So instead of trying to work the entire 10,000 bucket, right, or the 5,000 bucket, you're simply going to, 1, set up a page that you can send everybody to. 2, you're going to put a HubSpot tracking code on that page, okay? 3, you're going to set up a workflow that anytime this page is seen from anybody who is in this list, which should be your webinar registration list, right? Boom, step 1, we're going to delegate to the setter team. Step 2, we're going to notify the setter, okay, whether it's Slack or it's a text or it's an internal notification, whatever you want to do, that they've been delegated a new lead, right? And then the last step is going to be creating, okay, a smart view that has everybody who either enters this workflow or who has viewed that page that has not purchased or has not booked a call, right? And that smart view is going to be filtered for me, meaning whoever it is that is viewing that smart view, okay? Then your reps will just be able to power dial. They'll be able to go through it, right? Again, if you watch any of our other P1, P2, P3 lists, they'll be able to filter for who's opening emails, who's rewatching videos, who's clicking links in real time, right? And it'll help you guys get a much higher conversion rate. It'll help you guys prioritize, especially in those first 24 hours, all of the super hot prospects. And then throughout day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, or how long your initiative is, to rework all the leads. Marketing will have the front end piece pushing more people to watch, right? They're also going to have the people that have watched pushing to the page to try and trigger that automation to get the sales team involved and lock down these leads. So with that being said, short video, super quick strategy. It crushes. It works extremely well. I'll leave you guys with this last tip is put together one dashboard. Okay, you're going to use a client tracking journey, which is going to show how many registrations you got, how many people watched or attended the webinar, how many people actually converted on the CTA, and then you're going to break that down by rep. So you're going to be able to see all of their basically lead to booking or lead to close percentages off that webinar, so you can see obviously how well all of your reps are doing. If you're just delegating to setters, it's just going to be obviously how many leads have been delegated to them, how many they're working, and how many obviously book a call, right? Then you can take our other dashboards, which I'll pull up here. Then if you run an office or if you want to go over this each morning during the initiative, you can go in and you can set up a dashboard, something along the lines of using a client journey tracking to see how many people registered, how many people showed, how many people viewed the page, how many people converted, right, on your CTA. You can then go take that and see today's, this week's, this month's revenue from that webinar, right? You could take it a step further and see, for example, your close rates from those people, right, up or down from last month. And then you could obviously go in and start setting up your setters to be able to see, here you go, how many sets that they did from that webinar, and then what their percentages of disposition are. So how many people they got to show to the next call, if you guys, again, are using a CTA to book a closing call or whatever the case may be, what their close percentage is, etc., so that you can track your setters and you can run an awesome competition. You can throw an internal competition around it, which is what I would recommend, right? Because this is more of a blitz strategy. So with all that being said, I know it's a little blurry, so I'm going to step aside so you can just look at it again really quick. Cool. Again, if you guys want me to walk through like the step-by-step on how to actually build the workflow, how to build the smart view, how to build the list, how to build the dashboard, go ahead and like this video, comment below something, just comment webinar. I'll be happy to do it. And again, if you're not on HubSpot, you should be able to do this. You're just going to have to do a bunch of stuff with Zaps, maybe some API webhooks. I'm not really sure. On HubSpot, this is super simple. If you are running webinars and you want us to set something up like this for you, there's going to be a link below. You can go ahead, click it. You'll learn more about who we are, and you can book a call with us so we can kind of walk you through the more strategized approach and how, basically the overall in-depth, what this looks like, how we implement it, and potentially work with us to actually get this done. See you in another video.